Now going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Biden wants to ban AR-15s, enforce universal background checks, as well as remove immunity for gun manufacturers to bankrupt every single one of them. And it went pretty viral. Mentally vacuous, yes. Granted, this is probably just one of his interns typing it for him. I don't think he knows how to use a smartphone. Probably not. But this allegedly comes from the president's link. I was going to say LinkedIn. It'd be fascinating if he had a LinkedIn, but he's never had a job. But nevertheless, this comes from his ex-Twitter account. Now, he allegedly says, quote, "It's time to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines like we did before. It's time we establish universal background checks. And it's time to end immunity for the gun lobby," unquote. Mentally vacuous, evil, of course. Now, he's referring to the old, fascinatingly enough, he's referring to the old assault weapons ban, which 3 independent studies found had no decrease, nor correlation to any decrease in crime or decrease in mass shootings. It also was unconstitutional. So he wants to put that back in place. Also, the beautiful thing about modern society, he says no high-capacity magazines. Fun fact, the 30-round magazine is standard with all AR-15s that live in a free state, and was how Eugene Stoner quickly changed it from the original capacity of 20 rounds to 30 rounds. Many people say to copy the AK-47's capacity, but 30 round has been the standard for decades. Do not let them use 1984 word manipulation to say high-capacity magazines. Nope, they're trying to use words. They're just, of course, being deceitful. They want to ban that. Establish universal background checks, also unconstitutional. That means they would have a massive database of every single firearm, which, again, if you look at historically speaking, has never, ever, 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 ever worked in favor of freedom. In fact, if you look at the most evil governments in history, the worst things always come after gun confiscation. It's happened every single time. Now, he also says we want to end, again, ban the AR-15. Go back to that for a New York minute. You can't ban it. You can certainly try to. The Supreme Court, thank God, will overturn that in a second. Well, the Supreme Court, thanks to, I believe it's a Brewer decision, they have said you cannot ban firearms in common use. Fun fact of the day, over 50% of all rifles sold in the United States, in terms of style and variant, are of the AR-15 design. Perhaps because it's the perfect thing that Eugene Stoner ironically made in California back in the day when he worked at Armalite. But it's also because maybe the patent expired so anyone can make them with a proper manufacturing license. But yeah, it is the most common rifle bar none. So you're not going to be able to ban them. There are just too many. You won't be able to get. Good luck trying to take them back. You'd have to take every person to court because, again, in the United States, you do not get your property taken away without due process. So they'd have to somehow maybe sue every citizen or take them to court to steal it from them and disarm them. And then he says, and this is very, very important, end immunity from the gun lobby. What he is trying to say is remove immunity from the manufacturers, which would bankrupt every gun company ever. Now, this is a very unique attack on the Second Amendment as well as the firearm community, firearm manufacturers. Now, from a legal perspective, this is what should happen in terms of legally speaking. If someone takes your product and does something evil with it, that manufacturer is not responsible for that because you're an individual with individual. You have the freedom to make choices as an individual. You are self-aware. You can do whatever you want. Now, this is very unique because the Democrats are always going after the firearm community, firearm manufacturers. No one has ever said we need to sue Ford because someone went out, they bought a Ford, and committed heinous acts. They killed people. They killed them with a Ford. Not because they were at a car meet and they spun out in a Mustang like they do, but they used it for true evil and intentionally used it as a weapon. They've never said we need to go after Ford and sue them for that. Because again, that's not the manufacturer's issue. With firearms, they want to remove that so they can bankrupt every single one. Because again, any gun manufacturer, you take that gun, but then they go and do some evil with it. Well, then they're saying, oh yeah, now you can sue the firearm manufacturer. Even though you didn't buy it from them. In terms of end users buying firearms in the United States, they have a very much indirect sales model, meaning they sell to very similar to major traditional car companies. They manufacture the product, they then sell it to a distributor, and that distributor sells it to a gun dealer. The gun dealer uses a 4473 paperwork background check for a person, and then sells it to a person. So there's an indirect sales model on top of all that. Now, make no mistake, they want to remove that protection to bankrupt every gun company. Now, the beautiful thing about the United States and Second Amendment is you can make your own gun, if again, not legal advice, but as long as you do not sell it to someone else or give it away, you can make your own gun. And the AR-15 is such a well, it's a brilliant design, but it's very soft aluminum, so many people will just make their own. So he's saying he wants to do this all unconstitutional, but that hasn't stopped them before. This is one of the most viral things Biden has posted in the past year. And it got 3.2 million views, as well as 61,000 likes from people who perhaps want to be oppressed or mentally vacuous or evil, or perhaps a combination of all three. Because again, read any evil dictator, read any history book. The most evil things always happen when the guns are taken away from the populace. Also the antithesis to what the founding fathers believed. They thought you should have the same, or no, actually no. They thought you should have better armaments than the government because they feared the government would become so bloated, corrupt, and evil. So again, I wish more people read about the founding fathers. Perhaps they will someday. Now, going to some top comments, you got X Van Fleet, who actually escaped communism in China, or some might say China, but nevertheless. Now, X Van Fleet says, quote, hashtag POTUS, the communist Democrats will disarm you just like the CCP has done to the Chinese people. Wake up. They got 1.7 thousand likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, Joe, your staffer doesn't seem to understand the Second Amendment. I got 6.1 thousand likes, which, yeah, very few people in politics do, unfortunately. I almost feel like there should be some test if you're a politician. You should be able to actually, know what the Bill of Rights is and the Constitution, actually be able to stand for them. That'd be nice as well. And yeah, the most rudimentary argument I always hear is, well, no one needs an AR-15 for deer hunting. Yeah, that's not what the Second Amendment was for. It is to protect you from corrupt governments and also evil people around you. As a famous man once said, God made man, but Samuel L. Colt made man equal. Planet of Memes says this, and they did respond in meme form, finally. Excuse me, in which they say this, and it says, any politician who wants to ban these, and you have a picture of a good old Glock, says should have bodyguards armed with these, and there's a picture of a slingshot. They get 3.9 thousand likes. Another great example of the hypocrisy of politicians. Many of them basically have unlimited firearm power. Not just in quantity, in terms of having a bunch of armed guards around them, but also they got good old full auto P90s. Whereas if you and I want to buy a machine gun, we have to have one that was manufactured and registered with the U.S. government before 1986, also pay a $200 tax stamp, also pay sales tax on top of that, and also, oh yeah, you have to do additional background check, additional paperwork in terms of fingerprints and photo ID, or a passport photo taken, and then you have to wait, 6 months to a year to get that paperwork back from the U.S. government, the Treasury Department. And politicians have unlimited power. Doesn't sound very American to me. Great point, Planet of Memes. Planet Suzuki also says, will Joe Biden's be banning the assault weapons that his Secret Service will also use, getting 1.5 thousand likes. Planet Memes, oh, they're on fire. They got another meme for us. It says, Joe, you can't have that. And you have someone, and this gentleman has a gun being pointed at his face. It says, you idiot, you can't threaten me with that. That's illegal. Getting 2.4 thousand likes. Another friendly reminder of Chicago, which has nearly every one of the gun laws that Democrats want on a federal level. They have it on a city level, which again has been a cesspool, and it's just been a cliche, terrible place to live for decades, and it's one of the most dangerous places. Yeah, but they want to roll that out nationwide. Yeah, about that, probably not the best idea. Now, scrolling down more and more. And again, going back to the universal background checks, one of the few things I think Ted Cruz said in his political career where he really hit the nail on the head when he was debating Dianne Feinstein a couple years ago, and again, they were trying to steal AR-15s from folks again. He said, there's only two reasons for the government to have a list of all the guns and who owns them. To tax them or to take them. I think that's very, very true. Now, scrolling down to more comments, you have Cash Loren says, someone should show Biden staffer the Constitution and have them read the Second Amendment. Instead of the Second Amendment, a regulated militia being necessary to security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. They got 705 likes. Planet Memes is on fire. This will be the last one to read. It says, pro tip, and it's a picture of a, let's say that's is that a CZ pistol or a SIG? Let me know in the comments what you think. It says pro, and it's covered up in, looks like printer paper. It says, pro tip, hide your guns from the government by wrapping them in the Epstein client list. Getting 227 likes. Well, then they never find it. So they never examine it. Let's see here. Just a Dude says, here are some areas of concrete change. It starts with leadership. And it's an infographic of or a little map of the U.S. that's mostly red. It says 97% of all guns are in red territory. 97% of all gun violence is in blue. Yep. I don't think it's a coincidence. Getting 1.1 thousand likes. John Fresh says, can you please define assault weapon so we can all understand what you're trying to ban? Getting 1.5 thousand likes. Another brilliant thing. And the power of political polling and research, they looked up all the different scary words they can use to describe firearms. They actually tried, like, would it be scary to use the word sniper rifle? The average American wasn't too scared of that, but they thought assault weapon, ooh. People, rudimentarily, people think that's evil, got banned that. When again, when they say assault weapon, they mean Seri black rifles. Because again, was it over a vast majority of every firearm sold in the United States is a semi-automatic of function of fire. And again, that Ruger 1022, or they just think it's evil because it's black. It's AR-15. It's tactical. It's still a semi-auto rifle. Every American should have a full-auto AR-15 if they're of sound mind. And yet they say, oh yeah, we need to ban this one because it's scary and black. Yeah. Salty Goat says, come and take it then, retard, getting 1.1 thousand likes, complete with a middle finger emoji, which, appreciate the spirit. However, they also outgun you a good zillion to one. So, unfortunately, yeah. A picture of was it like a gal from the 1950s, like an old advertisement where she's trying to drink coffee. It says reject degeneracy. Again, click that subscribe button. It might help with my stuttering. Perhaps we'll get through a whole show with perfect articulate speaking someday. A man can dream. And she's saying, quote, once you give up your guns, they're going to kill you. You know that, right? Getting 665 likes. Vance Murphy says the Venezuelan election is exactly what we need. Why we need high-capacity magazines or weapons. Getting 733 likes. Kimberly says, so no background check for illegals, but background checks for Americans with constitutional rights. Getting 356 likes. Yep. Do one more here. It's like an old cliche cartoon from the 50s where mother and a little girl is asking her mother something. She says, Mom, what's an assault weapon? She says, no, it's a term used by emotionally unstable liars who want you defenseless, desperate, and dependent. And 524 likes. So, again, the United States is about 50-50 split. There should be about 50-50 split in the comments with people following Biden on social media. And, yeah, it seems like overwhelming, it sounds like he almost has a Chris Christie effect. Fascinating social media phenomenon in which you have 0 positive comments which is almost statistically impossible because when Chris Christie was running for, Republican nominee, they happened twice to him where, again, he said something and no one said anything positive. And presumably he has, campaign staff, friends, maybe, family. Yet 2 times, nothing positive. And this may very well be the same thing. Ms. Dinko says, this is what you want for a country. It says Venezuela bans private gun ownership. And, it's heartbreaking. Taking a acetylene torch to a nice revolver. They got 54 likes. Yeah. So that is one of the nice, in terms of silver linings of the pandemic, is many Americans became first-time gun owners, and they realized, wait a minute, a lot of these, mayors was telling the police to stand down, just let the riots go free. You might actually defend yourself and not depend on the government, and many people chose to. So it'll be interesting to see if that's one of the main topics when it comes to the upcoming election this year. I think we have seen the pendulum swing. We are, in terms of states' rights, in terms of more and more pro-gun things happening. Thankfully, more and more states are becoming constitutional carry, and there are some good things happening. I wish someday the Republicans would get off their lazy keisters and repeal an NFA Act, also known as the National Firearms Act of 1934, to actually own fun things without them burn some, I would say, unconstitutional paperwork. I don't know what the odds of that is, but perhaps someday. But let me know in the comments. Have you seen more people in your life that are becoming more pro-gun throughout the past couple of years, or at least starting to be open to the idea of, well, this is probably best to have it than to not have it? And really speaking, I've seen a couple of my friends who are more left, or a couple of them in the middle, who, 10 years ago, they've never even thought of touching a gun, but lately, they've been open to coming out to the range, and proud to say I've brought a couple of them to have their first range experience, and a lot of them usually get hooked, and they become proud, responsible gun owners. So, let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down or a comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.